the news of this night. We begin with another horrible attack, also disturbing, at a New York subway station.
This time, a man trying to steal a woman's purse and using a violent path to robbery. He beat her on the head with a hammer.
The victim, a scientist with the New York City Health Department, now in critical condition, and the thug who nearly killed her on the run.
Sonia.
Did that racist, supremacist newscaster just call that dude the T word? Because you know some people take ownership of T word. When they hear that word, it's like monkey. You say monkey around the sunburst, their heart drop. They take ownership of them words, man. Them words, those are their words, man. You say those words, you're talking about them, according to them. Hey, man. But salute to this newscaster, man.
The victim, a scientist with the New York City Health Department, now in critical condition, and the thug who nearly killed her on the run.
Sonia Rincon live is at the scene in Long Island City, Queens. Sonia.
Yeah, Sade, the search is on for the man behind that attack here at the Queens Plaza station just after 11 o'clock last night. And today, the mayor and the NYPD chief of detectives used the same word to describe it: brutal. The weapon in this case, a hammer, and police believe he struck the victim with it as many as 13 times.
Wow. And listen, I always say this, man. Growing up, you didn't curse around old people, man. We'd be on the train after school cursing and see an old person get on and, you know, like, I'm speechless, man. I mean, and this wasn't no kid, though. That's what I'm saying. This guy's from the era. Like, I don't know, man. Something's wrong with son, man. And maybe this guy calling the perp in this case a thug is a step in the right direction. But this acting like, okay, this is just normal. Like it's like a pickpocket or, you know, like somebody, you know, swindled. Like, this is not normal. Hitting an old lady in the head with a hammer 13 times in a train station in New York where there's so much foot traffic and cameras. That's not normal, man. And it's time to start, like, dealing with it from that standpoint. It's not normal to hit an elderly woman with a hammer in public 13 times in a heavily foot trafficked place.
I'm really angry. You know, a robbery in itself is a traumatizing event. The person was just brutal.
The disturbing video of that brutal attack shows a man kicking and shoving a woman down the stairs and hitting her head with a hammer, fracturing her skull before running off with her purse.
For us to believe that dangerous people like that in some corners, that we need to say because they're in pain, they should inflict pain, I don't subscribe to that. We need to catch him. He needs to be incarcerated.
And this afternoon, the NYPD making an appeal for help.
This is an unprovoked, brutal, and appalling crime on a woman who was just trying to get home after a day's work.
The victim, 57-year-old Nina Rothschild, is a senior health scientist with the New York City Health Department, just around the corner from the Queens Plaza station.
Now let's just pretend this was an elderly Sun woman. And the guy who did this was a glider. What am I doing? I'm asking too much of you guys again. I don't think any of y'all have any enough bandwidth and brain cells to conjure up that image, because and it just being a local story. I don't think. I apologize. Sorry, Ock Nation. Go on.
Just around the corner from the Queens Plaza station. Health Commissioner Dr. Dave Choksi today saying Nina has worked tirelessly in service to her fellow New Yorkers, and she is truly a public health hero. Her brother, who is also a scientist, says she is alert and conscious and remembers being attacked.
She kept screaming, "Stop, stop," but the person either wouldn't stop, I don't remember exactly what she said, but ultimately grabbed the bag.
The brutal crime has rattled people who use that station and woke up to an alert with the disturbing images.
It kind of just like spooks you, because it's like you think this neighborhood is safe, but it's actually not.
Nowhere is safe. I've been telling you this. I was ahead of the curve with this. Sunmen are everywhere, and they're like entitled. Crime is their entitlement. Like, they are entitled to commit crime. That's how they feel. I'm one. Now, I don't do that stuff, but I mean, I understand the nature, and I know a lot of them. They feel entitled, man. It's just, and I don't know how you fix this without like a draconian crime bill. I'm talking about this crime bill gonna have to be epic.
Normally, it's pretty safe. It's one of my favorite areas of Queens, but after hearing that, it makes me a little bit more hesitant to ride the subway system.
Isn't it funny how she gets to opt out of this? No, go ride the subway system, sister. You help create these little demons that grow up into these men. You don't get to just opt out. It's like, nah, I'm joking, man. This sister really, she should watch her back and be careful, because he would have killed her. He would have killed her. So, I mean, yeah, sister, don't. Be careful, man.
Police believe the suspect, who walks with a cane, is homeless. Today, the mayor said the city's new subway safety program, which looks to both help and remove the homeless from the system, has been engaging about 125 individuals per day. The victim's brother says he and his sister are lifelong New Yorkers who want this to work.
I do hope that the homeless outreach program will yield some results of getting the people who need it the most help that they can get, potentially reduce crime.
Your sister just got hit upside the head with a hammer. The savagery, man. Listen. Take your arm and swing it as hard as you can. Man, that elevated my heart rate. I'm not even gonna lie, that I'm not tired, but it elevated my heart rate. I can feel it. And to know that it's crashing into the skull of a senior citizen, a woman senior citizen, and you're like in like a public, heavily foot trafficked place, and this guy's like, I hope the lock them up, lock all of them up. Let them be in Rikers Island with the little sunmen, and let's see if they still crazy around them little sunmen. Because I got a feeling that the crazy gonna magically leave their body in their mind when they get in them dorms or them houses, and them mods with those different groups of sunmen, man. And on Britos in New York City prison known as Rikers Island, I guarantee they'll be able to control themselves. They'll just find, you know what? They'll find the headspace to meditate. They'll find a way to control themselves around those kids.
I do hope that the homeless outreach program will yield some results of getting the people who need it the most help that they can get, potentially reduce crime.
And the mayor today said police and the outreach teams continue to do just that, and that they estimate there are about 350 people living in the subway system. The good news from the victim's brother today, he expects his sister to make a full recovery.
New tonight, police arrest a man suspected in a dreadful hammer attack inside a Queens subway station. Officers walked 57-year-old William Blount out of the 20th Transit Precinct this afternoon. Police say he kicked and shoved a woman down the stairs at the Queens Plaza station on Thursday, then hit her in the head 13 times with a hammer. The repeated blows fractured her skull. The victim, Nina Rothschild, works for the New York City Health Department. She is in critical condition, but doctors expect her to recover. Blount faces several charges, including attempted murder.
Well, salute to the police that came and got this guy off the streets. And I'm sure that woman, now that I think about it, she works in the New York City government. That woman probably despised police a few years ago. But hey, police are professionals. They do their job. Salute me.
A teenager has lost sight in one eye after he was stabbed on a subway train, and police are still looking for the suspect.
And New York City continues to ramp up a new subway safety plan. CBS News' Natalie Dudger spoke to the teenager at Morgan Stanley Children's Hospital in Washington Heights.
This happened and just changed my life forever.
19-year-old Chris Angosaka is still coming to terms with the blindness in his left eye after police say he was attacked while riding the A train by a man with a pair of scissors.
Golly, man, this young man, young hombrito, man. What up? All right, guys. When is the backlash coming? I'm wondering. That's the question for today. Is there going to be a backlash, and when does it come? I mean, young man just sitting on the train or standing on the train, and his eyes out for the rest of his life.
This happened and just changed my life forever.
19-year-old Chris Angosaka is still coming to terms with the blindness in his left eye after police say he was attacked while riding the A train by a man with a pair of scissors.
The blade, it went so deep that it cut the nerve of my eye. So it's I basically can't see no more from this eye.
The assault happened on February 14th at 6 a.m. Angosaka said he had just finished his shift at Amazon when he says a man who appeared homeless approached him and said, "Why are you talking about me?"
He comes at me specifically calling me racial slurs and everything. And then he stands up, coming closer to me. So then I try to defend
How many of y'all, when he said he was calling them racial slurs, instantly, and I mean instantly, knew it was a Sudman? That was the clincher. Oh, well, if you were on the fence before, once you heard that, you were like, oh yeah, that's Sudman. Hit one if that's you. And this might be I don't know if this is an hombrito or crouching tiger. This might be a crouching tiger or an hombrito that looks like a crouching tiger, because they both got the same origin.
He comes at me specifically calling me racial slurs and everything. And then he stands up, coming closer to me. So then I try to defend myself. And then we get into this altercation, and then he starts, at the end he just stabbed me in the eye.
My heart was broken. And then I was crying a lot because this is not easy for a mother to see that somebody do that. But at the same time, I was grateful because he's still alive.
Oh yeah, guys, the Philippines was a colony of Spain too, so we have to take that into account, that the Philippines was a colony of Spain.
Somebody do that, but at the same time, I was grateful because he's still alive.
The attack happened 1 week before Mayor Eric Adams rolled out a safety plan focused on 6 train lines, including the one Ingwasaka was riding, the A. So far, 30 teams of police and mental health professionals say they've engaged with at least 100 people, trying to move them to homeless shelters.
I think there should be more police, dealing with this homelessness.
The family started a GoFundMe page that's reached $9,000 to help pay for all of the surgeries. They're also applying to the city's compensation fund for victims of crime. Egwasaka says he does not feel safe riding the subway again, but says he might not have a choice when he has to go back to work. He hopes this suspect is caught soon so he can't hurt anybody else. In Washington Heights, Natalie Duddridge, CBS 2 News.
In the Bronx tonight, a search for a suspect in an attack that can only be described as disgusting. That attack happened at a subway station.
I wonder if they ever be like, damn, every story we do like this is a Sunday. Like, all of them. Like, if there's 1,990 of them or something. Like, that's gotta be ill in the production meeting. Because, before these people go on, before they go on the air, they have a pre-production meeting to, talk about, the show and how they're going to, come in and out of breaks and what they're going to do and what they're going to focus on, yada, yada, yada. You get to this, did that, da. Basically, game planning, It's kind of like, your team before, you go to hit the floor, hit the field, or, an ice rink, whatever sport you play. The game plan. Pre-production meeting. Day after day after day. Like, this sister's in there and she's like, and then they're constantly whining about something. It's got to be frustrating for the other groups of people, all groups of people, whether it's Patels, Crouching Tigers, Hombritos, or Gliders, to hear these people constantly complaining about everything and every violent crime is seized. And they're always whining and complaining about something. Like, there's never a day where it's not something that they're complaining about. But the one thing they're not complaining about is the fact that the whole world has been like, look, we've had enough of this stuff and we're ready to deal with you. They never have to complain about that.
In the Bronx tonight, a search for a suspect in an attack that can only be described as disgusting. That attack happened at a subway station. The man threw feces on a woman who was waiting for a train and then took off. That horrified victim today talked to Eyewitness News reporter Stefan Kim.
Just a regular brother. You'd seal the train, just a regular brother. Just evil as all get out. Like, he is evil and sinister. Tina knows, man. Break this down for me, Tina knows, man. I gotta call Tina knows for this one, man. Like, this is a despicable person, man. Is it okay for us to call him a bad guy? Like, can we just call him a bad guy? I mean, what a terrible thing to do to somebody, man. Like, that's something, like, don't get me wrong. An enemy or somebody who's crossed me or someone I have a feud with, yeah, I could see wanting to do something like that. I most likely wouldn't do it, but wanting to do something like that. Dreaming about doing something like that, yeah. But to do that to somebody that you don't know, it's just, that's so rotten. and foul. No pun intended. Like this is sisters. Sisters, will you call me a sellout if do I have permission from the sisters to call this one a bad guy? He can't be saved, that he need to be locked up. You guys, the sisters, because they don't want you to talk about. You gotta tiptoe around them. Is it all right, sisters? This a bad guy, man? Is this one not, dare I say, not a kank? Can we dethrone this one? Yeah, this one, I don't think he has an empire anywhere. God, what a rotten dude. This is a bad guy, man.
The man threw feces on a woman who was waiting for a train and then took off. That horrified victim today talked to Eyewitness News reporter Stefan Kim.
It is an attack on the subway, so vile, so disgusting. There are a few words to describe the indecency. In this video released by the NYPD, you can see a man take something out of a bag. That's something, human feces, which he then throws and rubs on a woman's face. No apparent motive. That woman says she was attacked out of nowhere.
I can't show y'all this, but this fool not only threw it in her face, he rubbed it in, he smeared it all in her face, and he didn't just instantly leave. Like, he stayed there. Like, you know how when you go to the when you go to the hairdresser and they're rubbing the mousse in you, he literally gave her a rub down all in her face. And and she's just the whole, that's somebody's mom, man. Oh my God, that's somebody's mom. Somebody's grandmother. You just did that. Oh, man. Whew.
Y me golpea en la cara y me tira una bolsa de excremento.
Speaking in Spanish, the victim, who did not want to be identified, says her assailant spread it all over her face and into her hair. She says she was sitting on a bench on her phone when she was struck. It happened so quickly. She didn't realize what had happened until after he fled.
Look how calmly he walking away, man. If you were coming up the other way and, encountering him ready to pass, you would have no idea. Actually, Tina knows is right, man. He's not. He doesn't look dangerous. He's not. He's not a threat. I mean, he got it out of his system before he encountered you, man. Now, he's released the beast, man. You got a load off, man. He's good now. He's sleepy, man. He's tired, man. Need to take a nap, man. He's not dangerous at all, man. You're right, Tina.
Police say it happened last Monday, February 21st, around 5:15 p.m. on the southbound platform of the East 241st Street subway station in the Bronx. The victim says 2 days after she was attacked here, she was harassed and followed by another man on the train in Brooklyn. In that incident, she said other riders were on board to help keep her safe.
Give me an idea on the guy who was harassed her in Brooklyn. Take a wild guess.
The mayor today saying incidents like this reinforce the need for a focus on how to address mental illness. And a week after his subway safety plan went into effect, he's ready to make some tweaks.
I am sitting down tomorrow to do an evaluation. I went out yesterday some of the subway stations and talked to the officers on the ground to ask them their pros and cons. What could we be doing differently?
As for the victim in the Bronx, she's hoping the mayor's plan to curb crime on the subway will work.